everybody. This is looks like to be Beretta Beretta M9A1 stock, but it's actually had some custom work done from none other than Wilson Combat. And so before we start, you can see that it's safe. I don't have a magazine in it at all. But yeah, this is my Beretta M9A1. So it's kind of like the Marine Corps version, which has a full metal trigger guard, and then it has a Picatinny rail at the bottom. And so, yeah, this came just as a normal Beretta M9. If you flip it over, this switch was actually a decocker. And so I wasn't initially crazy about it. I didn't like having to draw it from the holster and have a gun that essentially when you go up to shoot it, could be placed on safe and the trigger wouldn't go. So I had it sent off to Wilson Combat. They switched this out, changed it to where this is only a decocker. So I can either, decock it, and if I do that, I can still point in safe direction, still pull the trigger and fire. And so that's just like that feature that it's kind of like a backup if for some reason your trigger goes dead or you need to pull the trigger again, like if you had a bad primer or something like that. And so obviously I have a Surefire X300 turbo on the bottom, which is great just for scanning wide open fields when I'm at the ranch, or it would be great to have to blind an intruder if somebody breaks in, and be able to see what you're shooting at night, anything like that. So the only problem with these Beretta M9A1s, at least this model, is these front and rear sights are integral to the frame, at least the front side is. So you can switch out the back if you want to switch out the back, but the problem is what you have and what the front sight is on the gun is what it comes with, and you can't switch it out. I guess you could mill it off or something like that, but there's nothing wrong with this front sights in my opinion, and so I didn't mind them. To me, this is not a long-range shooting pistol. This is a pistol that I use for either personal protection or for shooting varmints or hogs up close if I need a backup kind of weapon. And so yeah, so when I sent it off to Wilson Combat to customize it, they kept everything stock, obviously minus the safety, which is now a decocker. They kept the original barrel. What they did have to do is when they switched out this safety to make it a decocker, they had to switch out the internal parts, which they nicely gave back to me if I wanted to re-switch it back. And they had to re-cerakote this because they had to do some, I think, milling on the slide. And so they had to cerakote the whole slide from what I remember them telling me, which I had no issue with because this gun inherently is really good at corrosion resistance, but why not have an extra layer when I'm, in East Texas in the woods and it's really humid and hot in the summertime. But anyways, going back to the pistol itself, they switched out all of the springs. They even put a full length metal guide rod, which I really liked. As you can tell, the gun's still pretty dirty. I shoot it a lot and I don't really clean it. I think I cleaned it one time on the roughly almost 2,000 rounds I put through this pistol. So they changed out the grips, which I really like Wilson Combat's grips. I have a 1911 that Wilson Combat is making for me on the way. After using these grips, and I have pretty small hands, after using these grips, they're really thin. This is the extra slim grips, I think is what they call it. And so as you can tell, it adds almost no width to the gun besides what is just the stock part. So that's super nice. Yeah, and the grips are really grippy. But not too grips where it cuts up your hands, like if you do some dremeling into grips that are rubber or metal or whatnot, it can really tear up your hands. But these are perfect for when your hands are sweaty. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about this gun a little bit. The gun in a weird way has its own personality, and so once I actually never shot this pistol before I had it sent off. I knew I wanted to buy it, immediately ship it off to Wilson Combat to change out the safety to a decocker and change out the internals just to make it a little bit more beefy. One thing that I've noticed about this gun is kind of like some higher end AR-15s, it does not like cheap ammo, and so it doesn't like remanufactured ammo, but that doesn't mean it won't shoot it. How it works and the issues that I've seen with doing this custom job is it'll cycle everything from low power to higher pressure ammunition just fine. You can definitely feel the sluggishness on the remanufactured light loaded ammunition. And so the problem arises is whenever the magazine is empty of rounds. That last round is a low pressure remanufactured ammo for say, like just 115 grain low pressure bullet. It doesn't lock the slide back to the rear as if you see here. So what I did is I bought 5 to 6 different brands of ammunition, all just normal ammunition that's factory loaded, from MagTech to CCI, or not CCI, but Hornady. It cycled everything that was known to be a higher pressured ammo, whether it's like a Winchester, I think on like sgammo.com, it's like advertises like military grade ammunition, like what the Army uses. That stuff is pretty hot. It's usually loaded to like plus P levels, and this gun loves that kind of ammunition, or just like MagTech ammo that's known to be pretty hot, and it cycles it just fine. So just something to keep in mind. When you start messing with internal guns, you have different caveats, or the gun changes its personality of what it likes and what it doesn't like. I have no issue with that. This is not my cheap plinking gun. I shoot this gun a lot, but I usually run pretty good ammo through it. I mean, the gun itself, I think when I bought it was $700 or $800. I think I spent probably closer to $800 in upgrades, from the grips to changing this out. And then obviously, like I said, they Cerakoted the top slide, to changing the internals, having a full length metal guide rod in it. And they did lighten up the trigger as well. I forgot to add that. So for me, it was worth it. This isn't some match grade gun. Obviously, it's not a good platform for that with the stock sights and the front sight you can't change. But this gun is a gun I've always wanted, and I've seen it used in the Army a lot. I was never in whenever we used these. I think we just switched over to the M18, M19, whatever the new SIG pistol is. That's kind of a piece of crap. But this gun, I think when it's maintenance wise, or when it's maintenance properly, uses the correct ammunition. And obviously this is like one of the latter year models. It's just, there's no risk of cracking. This gun just eats ammo like it's nobody's business, and it's super accurate to kind of distances I didn't think it was meant for. So that's a great characteristic of the gun. I go through a lot of guns, I test them out. If there's something I don't like about them, I get rid of them. I've held on to this gun for roughly 2 to 3 years now, and I have no intention, and I never will have an intention of getting rid of it. Yeah, I kind of have like a love affair with this pistol. There's nothing concealable about it. As you can tell, it's a pretty heavy pistol. Like I said, I have small hands, and you can see roughly how big it is in comparison. This is a full-size pistol. It has really good size magazines. I have a ton of Army surplus magazines down to the nicer Beretta magazines, the sand resistant, or whatever they call those magazines. It cycles everything. Even the Metguard magazines are just fine. This is such a mass-produced weapon that there's a lot of good aftermarket support for it. So usually hammer-fired guns, whether it's this or HK USP, or some of the other guns that I have, they're kind of falling to the wayside, and people are going to striker fire. It's the new rage. But I think there's something to say for these old style guns, especially since this gun was in military service from 1980 something to pretty recent in 2000s. And these are still around the armored room in the Army from what I saw. And so, yeah, I definitely wouldn't overlook a pistol like this. I'm not saying go out and buy an $800 pistol and then spend almost $1,000 of Wilson Combat upgrades to it. But if you find a platform you like and you're willing to invest in it, and you know you're not going to get rid of it and you're hand it down to your kids one day, I think this is a great pistol to start out with. So anyways, let me know what you think. Let me know if I'm crazy for doing this. Feel free to leave a like, comment, subscribe. And like I said, I want to keep putting out content for y'all that's interesting. On a lot of these guns I have a weird niche of interest, and so they're not going to be a lot of common sold guns, but they're guns that I've had and gotten to use a lot, and just kind of either fall in love with to make videos, or I get rid of them. But I'll let you know in the videos that I make for them if I like them or not, and the reasons why or why not. So anyways, have a great day. Feel free to let me know what you think about this pistol, and hope you'll be back for more videos.